It's painful, but here's the truth. If you can't spot the signs, you'll waste your energy on people who don't truly value you. If someone's words leave you doubting yourself, it's time to question their intentions instead. Most people don't have the courage to admit they don't like you. Instead, they hide behind fake smiles, empty flattery, and forced politeness. Let's cut through the pretense and uncover the subtle ways people reveal their hidden dislike. First, pay attention to their jokes. You know the type. They love cracking jokes at your expense. It might seem harmless, just playful teasing, but look closer. Are they constantly pointing out your quirks, mistakes, or imperfections? Do they laugh it off with, "I'm just joking"? These aren't jokes. They're veiled insults meant to chip away at your confidence. I once knew someone like this. They always had a sly remark about my dreams, my goals, even my girlfriend. I laughed it off at first, but the pattern became clear. They never targeted my strengths, only my vulnerabilities. I started doubting myself. Was I really that flawed? That's when I realized this wasn't teasing. It was a test. They were gauging how much disrespect I'd accept. Here's the hard truth. When someone habitually jokes about your flaws, it's not affection. It's manipulation. A way to make you feel small while they maintain the upper hand. Society might tell you to lighten up or take a joke, but don't buy it. True friends don't tear you down under the guise of humor. They celebrate your strengths and help you grow with kindness. Speak up. Draw the line. Because demanding better isn't just about protecting your confidence. It's about claiming the respect you deserve. Every time you laugh it off to avoid being labeled too sensitive, you give silent permission for the behavior to continue. By brushing off sly comments and laughing along, I was unknowingly playing a part in my own disrespect. The next time someone jokes at your expense, don't reflexively laugh. Pause and ask yourself, is this genuinely funny, or is it a veiled insult meant to cut deeper? Recognizing the difference is the first step to protecting your self-worth. And if you realize it's not harmless teasing but a calculated jab, don't shy away from calling it out. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable, and it could even strain the relationship. But let's be clear. Your self-respect is worth more than keeping a connection that thrives on tearing you down. True friends don't need to highlight your flaws to feel better about themselves. They lift you up, celebrate your strengths, and help you grow. The second sign is backhanded compliments. Here's the reality. Backhanded compliments are a covert power play, a way to undermine you while pretending to lift you up. I remember pouring everything I had into a big project, spending countless hours on every detail. When I finally shared it, someone I considered an ally said, "Wow, this is actually pretty good, for someone like you." At first, I was stunned. It sounded like praise, but those last few words, "for someone like you," cut like a knife. It wasn't a compliment. It was a reminder of where they thought I belonged, beneath them. It's a form of manipulation, a way to keep you second-guessing your abilities while they maintain control. The key is recognizing these comments for what they are and refusing to let them take root in your mind. Stand tall. Reject the narrative that keeps you small. Let's not kid ourselves. Backhanded compliments are rooted in insecurity. They see your potential, your talent, and it unsettles them. To ease their discomfort, they slip in subtle jabs designed to make you doubt yourself. Here's an uncomfortable truth. We've all done it, even if unintentionally. Maybe it wasn't out of malice, but there's been a moment when we've let our insecurities leak into our words, when we've offered compliments with a hidden reminder of someone's place. It's a fleeting attempt to prop up our own ego by planting doubt in theirs. Backhanded compliments aren't about you. They're a reflection of the other person's insecurities. When someone says something like, "You're smarter than you look," or "This is good considering you're new at this," you're not obligated to smile and let it slide. These aren't compliments. They're subtle digs meant to keep you second-guessing yourself. Letting them go unchecked hands them control over how you view yourself. So, how do you respond? When faced with a backhanded compliment, I don't let it slide. I say something like, "Thanks, but what do you mean by that?" It's simple, direct, and forces them to confront the negativity in their words. More often than not, it catches them off guard and shifts the dynamic. By addressing it, you set a boundary and show that you're not someone who tolerates veiled insults. It's fascinating how quickly things change when you call them out. Suddenly, they realize you won't play their game. The key? Never let anyone's veiled negativity define you. Whether it's a friend, a coworker, or even a family, remember this: your worth isn't up for debate. The third sign is exclusion. The dinner you weren't invited to. The party they forgot to mention. The weekend getaway they assumed you'd be too busy for. When you bring it up, the excuses come rolling in. "Oh, it was last minute," or "We thought you wouldn't want to come." They insist it was an oversight, but the sting remains. Because this isn't a one-time mistake, it's a pattern. And patterns reveal priorities. They speak volumes about where you stand in someone's life, even when their words try to tell a different story. This isn't an innocent oversight. It's calculated exclusion. The message is clear. You're not as valued as you think. I felt it, scrolling through photos of events I wasn't invited to, only to hear excuses like, "We thought you'd be busy," or "It was last minute." But let's be honest. If they wanted you there, you'd know. What does this mean for you? It's a subtle, passive-aggressive form of rejection. Instead of addressing their feelings, they avoid confrontation and hope you'll quietly remove yourself. Their silence isn't an accident. It's a decision. How can you recognize it? You're repeatedly left out, and when you bring it up, the excuses feel rehearsed. They rely on plausible deniability, hoping you'll accept their reasoning. Deep down, you know the truth. This isn't forgetfulness. It's intentional. What should you do if you recognized this sign? Stop making excuses for them. When it happens, call it out directly. "Hey, I noticed I wasn't invited. Why is that?" Their reaction will reveal everything. True friends will apologize and change. Others will double down on their excuses. Either way, you'll know where you stand. Remember this: if someone values you, they'll include you, no matter how last minute the plan is. True friends don't forget you. If you keep feeling excluded, it's time to reconsider their place in your life. Life is too short to chase people who don't appreciate you. And here's what you need to remember. You are not a backup option. You are a priority. The people you surround yourself with should treat you as such. The fourth sign is when someone is suddenly too busy every time it comes to you. They're constantly available for others, posting photos of outings, catching up with mutual friends, and making plans left and right. Yet, when it comes to you, their schedule mysteriously fills up. Here's the cold, hard truth. They're not too busy. They're just too busy for you. People make time for the things and the people that matter to them. If someone consistently can't seem to find time for you, it's not because their life is too demanding. It's because their priorities lie elsewhere. And while it's painful to face, understanding this allows you to stop chasing after relationships that leave you feeling undervalued. We've been conditioned to accept busy as an all-purpose excuse, a reason that's almost immune to questioning. It's easier for them to point to their calendar than to face the discomfort of admitting they're choosing not to make space for you in their life. They want to keep you on the hook, close enough to reach when it's convenient for them, but far enough to avoid genuine commitment to the relationship. Here's the deeper takeaway. Your time and energy are finite and incredibly precious. Choose to invest in those who make you feel valued and remind you that you matter. The fifth sign is avoiding physical contact. This isn't just about romantic relationships. Physical touch is a fundamental aspect of human connection. A pat on the back, a handshake, or even a casual brush of the arm can convey warmth and build trust. So, what does it mean when someone actively avoids even the most benign forms of touch? The answer is hard to hear, but it's important. They're likely uncomfortable around you. And while it's absolutely fine for someone to be naturally less tactile, the red flag arises when their behavior is selective. When they're perfectly at ease, hugging others but noticeably stiff or distant with you. Their avoidance might not be accompanied by words, but their body language speaks volumes. It's a subtle yet unmistakable way of saying, "I'm not entirely comfortable around you." And let's be honest, we've all experienced this dynamic from both sides at some point in our lives. Recognizing it is key to understanding where you stand and whether the relationship is worth the energy you're investing. Here's the deeper takeaway. Don't overlook the signs when someone consistently avoids physical contact with you. It's rarely just a personal quirk or preference. It's a statement about their level of comfort and connection with you. These nonverbal cues carry weight, and ignoring them only prolongs confusion and disappointment. If you notice this pattern, don't shy away from addressing it. It might open the door to a deeper understanding and give you the opportunity to strengthen the relationship. Or it might reveal that the connection isn't as solid as you believed. Either way, confronting the truth is always better than living in denial. Don't shy away from asking the tough questions or, if it comes to it, making the hard decisions. Life is far too short to spend it with people who keep you at arm's length, both physically and emotionally. The sixth sign is disappearing when you need support. It's not just a sign of unreliability, it's a glaring red flag. And let's be real. When someone pulls a disappearing act during your darkest hours, it's more than just hurtful. It feels like a betrayal. The moments when we're at our most vulnerable are the times we need connection and support the most. True friends show up, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's hard. If someone consistently checks out when you need them, they're sending a loud message. They're not willing to be there when it matters most. Recognizing this truth can be painful, but it's essential for prioritizing relationships. They'll happily party with you, laugh at your jokes, and revel in the high points of your life. But the moment things take a serious turn, when you're hurting, struggling, or simply in need, they vanish. Why? Because it's easier for them to ghost you than to face your pain or discomfort. The harsh truth is, they don't care enough to be there when it really matters. Let's be brutally honest. True support isn't about convenience. It's about showing up when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, and when it feels like the last thing you want to do. It's about being present not just in the good times, but in the messy, difficult moments that define real relationships. The people who disappear when you need them most aren't just being inconsiderate. They're revealing exactly where you stand in their life. If someone disappears the moment you need them most, they're not just letting you down, they're revealing a hard truth. They were never truly there to begin with. But here's the key. Don't let their absence make you bitter. Let it make you better. Use these moments as a lens to clarify who deserves a place in your life. See it as a filter, helping you sift out the people who don't bring value, who don't show up, and who don't reciprocate the energy and care you give. The seventh sign is gossip. Gossip is like social poison. It spreads faster than wildfire and can destroy relationships in an instant. And here's the thing about gossip. It's never as innocent as people like to pretend it is. When someone you consider a friend talks about you behind your back, they're not just sharing a harmless story. They're undermining your trust, tarnishing your reputation, and betraying the bond you thought you had. It's a deliberate act of sabotage that says far more about them than it does about you. True friends don't use your life as fuel for conversation at your expense. They protect your confidence and your character, even when you're not around to hear it. Recognizing this kind of behavior for what it is can save you from investing in relationships that are fundamentally toxic. Let's be honest. When someone gossips about you, it's a blatant sign that they don't respect you, no matter how friendly or supportive they may seem to your face. I've been on the receiving end of gossip, and let me tell you, it's one of the most gut-wrenching and disheartening experiences. I vividly remember confiding in someone I considered a close friend about a deeply personal issue. I trusted them, needed to vent, and believed they would hold my vulnerability with care. But within days, the details of our private conversation began to spread. Twisted, exaggerated, and stripped of context. It was like a cruel game of telephone, except the distortion wasn't accidental. It felt intentional, as if my trust and pain had been turned into entertainment for others. The person I had leaned on during a difficult time had weaponized my vulnerability for their own gain, and the betrayal stung deeply. Here's the controversial truth. People who gossip about you aren't just casually venting or sharing concerns. Gossip is a power play. It's a way for them to elevate themselves, to feel important or superior, all while tearing you down, and doing so without having to face you directly. It's cowardly, it's manipulative, and it's toxic to the core. True friends don't use your struggles, your secrets, or your moments of vulnerability as fodder for their own social gain. They protect you, respect you, and build you up, not because they want something in return, but because that's what genuine friendship looks like. And here's a hard truth to swallow. People who gossip to you about others will almost certainly gossip about you to others. It's not an isolated behavior, it's a pattern. I've seen it play out countless times. This kind of betrayal is particularly insidious because it happens in the shadows. You're left without a chance to defend yourself or even know what's being said. It's an act of cowardice, one that undermines the relationship without ever confronting you directly. But here's the thing. Gossip is never harmless. It's a betrayal, plain and simple, and it reveals far more about the person spreading it than it ever could about the person it's about. Gossip shows a lack of character, respect, and integrity. People who engage in it aren't just hurting the target of their words, they're sabotaging the trust that relationships are built on. Recognizing this pattern allows you to protect yourself. Confront it if you can, and if they don't acknowledge the harm they've done, don't hesitate to distance yourself. Your peace, trust, and well-being are worth more than any relationship that thrives on tearing others down. Surround yourself with people who uplift, protect, and respect you, not those who wield your life as their next conversation piece.